so lucky that we've been given this much time to tell the story. So lucky that we've been able to bring it to, that we're being allowed to guide it to a natural conclusion. So lucky that the actors have continued to trust us. And it's just been a gift on every level. It's been a really beautiful experience. And I know it was a very bittersweet choice for us to decide to end the show after season 6 because HBO has given us so much love and freedom. And I doubt I'll ever have as great a professional experience again because I'm so spoiled by the fact that the girls set is truly my family. Everyone on it is truly feel like members of this very special family that we formed, 5 years ago. And I love everyone so much.
Are you proud of your personal growth, your artistic growth?
I think that yes, I'm proud. If I step back and look at it, I go, wow, a lot's happened in the last 5 years, and I'm proud that I've been able to sustain it, and I'm proud that I've been able to collaborate, and I'm proud that it's continued. No, don't worry, bless you. I think that when you're so deeply in a project, it's hard to sort of feel like you're growing. You just feel like you're running as fast as you can to sustain it. So maybe when Girls is done, I'll be able to step back and go like, wow, that was really something, and I feel proud and lucky I was able to do it. And I do think that as the show's gone on, I've only learned more and more how to run a show, how to be an actor at the same time, how to write for myself, how to write for other people, how to direct in a sensitive way, and I couldn't have asked for a better film school.
The characters in this show, they're much realer than you would find them in many different shows. It's, what sets them apart in your mind? Your characters, how are they different than other shows?
I think that hopefully, I think there's lots of shows, increasingly more shows on television that show complicated, interesting women. My hope is that the characters on my show never have to be just one thing, that each of the girls represents many different facets of womanhood, of humanity. They get to act in contradictory ways, and we're not judging them morally for it. And my hope is that they're really fully realized, complicated women who are, doing their very best, but not always succeeding, and that we're accepting that.
What about the guys? They're kind of...
I love the guys on our show. It's funny because people will often say, the guys on your show are such dicks. Why did you write them this way? I think that they're sweet and interesting and complicated and can be incredibly kind and can be incredibly tough, just like any human. And I think that as the show's gone on, they've only gotten sort of more interesting and multifaceted.
How much do their characters, and all the characters, how much do they mirror the actors?
I wouldn't say anybody is like their character, but I would say everybody knows their character really well and contributes to their growth. So Adam, well, he shares the name, is nothing like Adam, but he has plenty of incredible ideas and instincts that allow us to push that character forward. And, Jemima has certain similarities with Jessa, and I've known Jemima since I was 11, so I definitely had her in mind when I wrote that character. But she is... in real life, Jemima is an incredibly responsible and thoughtful mother and friend and artist, but she's also able to give me plenty of fodder for the character.
In season 5, there's a wedding, and then next episode there's a baby.
Yes, there's wedding and there's a baby.
So what's going on here? So adult.
I know. I think that's part of this season is people are growing up, and it doesn't always feel good, but it's happening, and that's really, really important to. I think the growth of the show is that we start to move them towards these kind of landmarks of adulthood, like weddings and babies and real jobs and big moves and challenging breakups, and that's kind of where we're pushing them as they get older.
New York has always been a character in this show, and
yeah.
it's not Sex and the City. It's a very different New York.
Yes.
Can you just tell us what part of New York you're describing?
Well, I think I live in Brooklyn. So many of my friends live in Brooklyn. It used to be a place that was affordable where you could go to be an artist, and just the way that when my parents were in Soho in the 70s, they were able to live affordably and pursue a creative career without having to make too many sacrifices. Brooklyn became that, and then suddenly people were priced out of Brooklyn, priced out of Queens, and New York became this place where it was really challenging just to live at all. And I think that is what we're talking about, is this new New York where you don't come full of possibility, you kind of come full of fear, because there's so many things saying like an easier life would be elsewhere, what are you doing here? And so there's so many prohibiting factors keeping you from having sort of a pleasant life. New York can be a really rough place to live, and especially if you're a young person, a young woman who doesn't necessarily have financial resources, New York can really beat you up. And so that's what we've been looking at. And while the characters have gone in and out of, employment, unemployment, moments of financial success, moments of not financial success, we've always wanted to make it really realistic. Marnie's apartment is a little shoebox in Chinatown. Hannah's apartment is a little bit bigger, but she can't afford it without a roommate, and so she has this constant revolving door of friends coming in and out. Like those are the realities of being a young person in New York right now. And it's not big glossy apartments and high ceilings.
How are you? This show plays in many countries, yet it's many countries. People is different. The culture is different. How do you know how it's playing in different countries?
Well, whenever I've gone to other countries, we've had a really beautiful response, whether it's been, talking to girls in Japan or the Netherlands. It's been real positivity, because I think even if you don't necessarily relate to sort of the in-jokes of New York City life, you may relate to that moment when you just kind of are trying to figure out your place in the world, and you're experiencing all this joy, but you're also experiencing these massive setbacks, and you just don't understand how to make yourself useful. And that's really a really challenging moment, and I think that moment kind of crosses any cultural divides, especially in like the Western world. And then I'm sure there's plenty of places where girls wouldn't necessarily make sense. There's plenty of places where it's not a reflection of what life is, especially life for women in their 20s, because there's lots of places where women are still, married off and in their teens, and the matriarchs of fairly big families by the time they're the age of our characters. So I try to be sensitive to that too, that this isn't the reality of all women globally, but it's the reality of some women globally.
You're campaigning for Hillary Clinton, and I heard you telling people don't vote for her because she's a woman.
Yeah, I've been saying to people in my campaign speeches for Hillary has just been that I get a lot of feedback online. Why are you voting for Hillary Clinton? Is it just because she's female? And I think that's so condescending to assume that a woman, just because she's a feminist, would vote for a candidate because of their anatomy. And so what I say is, I'm not voting for Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. Do I think it's an exciting and powerful thing that we could have our first female president? Yes, I do. But I wouldn't be voting for her in this primary if I didn't think she was also the most qualified person for the job.